Hey traders, this is Rocky Horner coming to you from the very beginning of the Asian session right now. We're taking a look at what's going on as basically Wednesday begins. And this is the Simpler Forex free update. And we're going to dive into a number of trades that I talked about actually in my current course that we're doing live, the live trading for right now anyways, called the Confident Currency Trader. And I'm going to take you through a couple setups in the New Zealand dollar that we talked about with the RBNZ hot zone and Governor Wheeler speaking. We're going to start off with the New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar, and what is really kind of an ugly New Zealand dollar short. Now, when you take a look at the heat map, and many of you are already familiar with this tool, but when you take a look at the heat map, let me go back here. For the New Zealand dollar, pretty much the main thing you want to do with the Kiwi, with the New Zealand dollar, is sell it. Because if you take a look in terms of its ranking overall, on a longer term, we call a 1 month look back, this relationship to other currencies over the past 30 days has been one of weakness. So longer term timeframes dictate, hey, let's sell this against other individual currency stories. The two best strength stories to sell the New Zealand dollar against would be the pound and the Canadian dollar. So we look to see if we have directional bias in those markets. Now, I'll tell you, it's not great directional bias. There is an edge, but it's not a great edge. There's a little bit of just kind of a hook, and this would barely be considered an uptrend in the pound versus Canadian dollar. So it's not one that I'm really going to consider. The New Zealand dollar short against the Canadian dollar, which has been kind of, weak after last week's lackluster data. We've seen a bit of some profit taking in the Canadian dollar. That one is, I think, a little bit better in terms of how established this ugly downtrend has been. I say ugly because you see how lumpy it is and a mix of red and blue candles. But the only thing that we would be interested in doing would be fading the 8,800 level on any kind of strength. This would be essentially a very ugly swing short with a stop loss on the other side of the 200 period simple moving average. So that's the sum total of the New Zealand dollar. And I wanted to mention that in tonight's free video because a lot of traders take a look at the economic calendar and they think, hey, wait a minute, this New Zealand dollar is something we could trade. There's an economic release that gives us a catalyst. Hopefully there'll be some setups based upon the hot zone. But before the setup with the economic release is valid, you have to have a setup that the economic release can help trigger. The release itself is not the trigger. Okay, so there's the New Zealand dollar. Well, even though this was called the Confident Currency Trader and we have day number 2 of live trading starting up tomorrow, Wednesday, we talked quite a bit about other markets, especially the Dow and Disney. Disney had earnings today. So did Entertainment Arts, EA, and I said, I really don't like the EA story. It's choppy at best. There's no clarity. I'm uninterested. But Disney, and we set this up, actually we talked about it Saturday during the main strategy course. We reiterated this into the close. Buying puts, we actually set up puts with a 101-100 strike on Disney. Disney rallied all day into earnings. And I love fading moves like this. I don't care if it's a central bank or if it's earnings. Disney's expected, what was the news being discounted? That there would be great earnings. You think Star Wars, you think of the new Marvel movie, and everyone's thinking great. The story a week or two ago was how poorly Shanghai Disney was going, and there's always this nagging ESPN conversation as it relates to Disney. The market set itself up perfectly for a fade, but I want to be cautious about that. I want to be prudent about how I'm going to set up the fade, and that means we play with puts. We turn this into more of a binary kind of time-based event. Not to mention on volatility, and if you have a put and the market sells off, you actually will do better with the put option as long as there's a reasonable delta and not theta decay. You'll do better with the put option than actually being short Disney. So we had a put, 100 and 101 strikes are what we shopped. The market went down, as you can see here, to 99. My validity for this would be, I would like to have seen 99.90 or even 100 hold. But we have another interesting level to watch, which was a gap level at 98.59. So this happened after hours. When the market opens tomorrow, we'll see, but the early indications are it will probably open somewhere around 100. So those options should be looking mighty pretty tomorrow. And that was Disney. The final trade we discussed, and this has been in play for some time, was this what was once a swing buy, which turned into a fade buy at 17,651, 17,580, and 17,480, which was the pressing validity fade. So we built a long position from those three levels. The lower the level of buying, the better the risk-reward ratio, and therefore the larger the position size typically that I want to focus on. Two things to note: the market hit the optional profit target at 749 and hit our non-negotiable target at 840. So this particular trade now has been ratcheted to a break even. Great place to be. Take house money off the table, put a break even stop, protect your capital. That way, if all heck breaks loose, this is a winner no matter what. And that's our job as traders. When a trader does hit the profit target and now is a winner, we can't let it turn into a loser. The way we do that is with a break even. So that's our favorite video for tonight, taking a look at a handful of markets and the setups that I've been watching. I'm going to talk about what's been going on with the US dollar, what I continue to believe is the catalyst for the short squeeze, but hopefully what will be exhaustion. I hate to say hopefully. I even cringe to hear that word come out of my mouth as it pertains to a trade, but I think we're holding some levels. We'll talk about that in the premium video. I'll see you in the next update.